critical criticism regarding objectively narrowing your music.
Hey guys.
Pop it open, Kay. I can't hear you.
Yeah, there you go. Was that close enough to the mic for you?
That's good.
Yeah. Nice
Yeah.
Modelo.
Exciting. Yeah, we're sponsored by the finest of Mexican brews today. Not officially or anything.
Red Solo Cup for me.
There you
nice
go.
Work, nice work there, Steve.
Look at these comments already flying.
Motown shirt. Is that a Motown
Vancouver's
shirt?
here. Wait,
Vancouver?
no, it's Slow Down. It's a turtle.
Slow down. Oh, I thought it was Motown.
I like Motown too, but I also like to take her slow, Sasso. You know how it is. This is our Lethbridge episode. We've been waiting to talk about Lethbridge for 5 whole episodes already. That means we haven't been touring for like 5 months, and that's just since we started doing this. It was a whole year before that. So it's like kind of crazy. How are you?
I'm all right.
You look good. You got your shot, eh? So nice.
I did. I'm vaccinated. The power of America has
one and done.
started to come. Nice. Yeah. So now we got to get you guys done, and we can start moving around. Maybe we'll see.
We can jam.
Be good. What we got here? Victoria. Okay, the West Coast is with us.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful. It's also kind of a special day because our pal Corb Lund is going to join us in about a half an hour.
Yes, it's going to be awesome.
See what he's up to. We got some Ontarians coming up. Hello, Luke. How's it going?
Nice.
You make sure that guy gets to bed on time this time. Right. All right. So we're talking Lethbridge. Like I said, Lethbridge is our favorite town in southern Alberta. But before we get to that, we'll do our little playlist that we do every week, which always starts with the old man Steve.
Are we going to
pick an old man song? What's that, buddy?
Are we going to cut him short today? I got the bell if we need it. You know,
if I go long,
is that a knife?
Yeah.
Is that a knife? Be careful.
I would normally hit with this with some sort of. It needs a metal implement. This thing.
Okay.
There we go.
To sound right. There we go.
As far as we know, our bar, the place we always home, basically in Lethbridge, the Slice is watching from the Slice. I don't know what the Alberta rules are. I don't know how many people are there, but hi, Slice. What's happening?
Hey,
let's hear from you.
It's almost like Romper Room.
Yeah,
I see Jesse.
Yeah,
Tyler.
All right, let's get started with Steve Pitkin's first pick.
Yay! Okay.
What do you got for us?
So yeah, and you'll be listening to this, of course, on Spotify after. So you'll know what I mean. When I was a little kid, my dad loved to get me riled up with this song. It's a Johnny Horton song. And it took me a long time to figure out later in life, who is this guy? There he is right there. Thank you. Right there, yeah. Battle of New Orleans. If you don't know it, it's really singable. It's like, I'll take a little trip down down Mississippi. Of course, I can't do it now.
It's a good song. I remember it as soon as I heard it, I remembered it. A lot of nostalgia there for me. It's
about the War of 1812 and pushing the British back. Little did the army know at the time that the war was over. Apparently, I looked it up. There was already
it's research. I like that.
Pre-telegram. It was the messengers were on their way to inform the Americans and the British that a treaty had been signed. But in the meantime, the British attacked New Orleans and a very small army of mixed, as the story goes, soldiers that comprised of Black people and Native Americans, and everybody in the area got together and pushed this British troop back. And this is a really triumphant song that you just can't help stomp to. What reminded me of it somehow was the Lethbridge is near a fort. It's a military
favorite fort.
Oh. I love
this is Steve's favorite fort.
Yeah, Fort McLeod. It's just a cool, if as pioneer towns go, this one really has it. But as I learned, Fort McLeod was built in the late 1800s. And of course, during the War of 1812, Lethbridge was a mere trading post, trading probably buffalo, right? Because that was where the head smashed in buffalo jump is out that way. And fur trading, whatnot. It was definitely I think it was not part of Canada yet. It was known as the Rupert's Land, which stretched all the way from Manitoba all the way west, and it was governed by either the Hudson Bay Company or the Great West Company.
Oh, look at the big brain on
that. History. What happened to the song?
Steve's been reading.
Let's hit the song and enjoy it. And they were probably supporters at that time of the of that campaign down south where they were pushing the British back. I bet the Albertans at the time would have joined in if they could.
Your buddy Johnny Horton, did he also write the Bismarck song?
Yeah, he did a bunch of sort of war triumphant songs. Fun fact about Johnny Horton, he married it was Hank Williams' wife after Hank passed away. And if you didn't know, Hank was like 29 and he passed away after doing a show at a bar in Austin, Texas called the Skyline. Now, flash forward to 7 years later, Johnny Horton was playing at the Skyline, same exact club. He was driving home to, I think it was Alabama or wherever he lived. It was about 5 or 6 hours, and had a head-on collision with a truck and died also the same night he played the Skyline bar. So that's a neat fun fact. And then I guess his wife went on from there.
Widowed twice.
But do you know his covers album?
Widowed twice.
His Who cover album, Johnny Horton Hears the Who. Do you know that one?
Come on.
Have you heard that one yet?
I think
I'm not.
I can't wait to hear your rendition. Anyways, I'm going to time out.
All right, he's chiming himself out.
Listen to that podcast, people.
Absolutely. Let's move on to this is a great pick from Mark here, and Corb's going to be joining us in about 20 minutes. So here we'll talk about him before he gets here.
Yeah. Okay. So I picked The Truth Comes Out. Should I give some information on Corby?
There he is.
Corb started out in a band called The Smalls. They started out in 1989, but Corb started out on his own as Corb Lund in 1995. And his first release was Modern Pain was the first album he put out. But we went on tour with him 10 years later in 2005. And he had just put out Hair in My Eyes Like a Highland Steer, right? And we were on tour with him. I think maybe we played like 30 shows with him across Canada from Ontario all the way out west. There are amazing songs every night. Good Copenhagen, Hair in My Eyes Like a Highland Steer, The Truck Got Stuck. But my favorite from every night was to hear The Truth Comes Out. The Truth Comes Out is like, for me, it's like a painting. I don't know. It just reveals itself. Every time you kind of look at it, you find more and more interesting things. But I'm going to ape something off of the dude from The Big Lebowski. I learned a word today, so I'm going to use that word. Prosody. He's got, well, I guess maybe I should talk about the song. The song actually touches on, first, environmentalism, obviously global warming and all that stuff. It just kind of hints at all that stuff, as well as him describing what's kind of going on. It's very wilderness-esque. But there's a great line. I'm going to probably mess it up as I say it here, but his chorus is, you got to look out for when you're fishing on Lee's Creek. They'll come around the bend and they'll make your knees weak. There's grizzly bears where there are no grizzly bears before, which I love. So to use the term prosody, it's like prosody, like the way he kind of rolls all of those lines together. I love it.
Are you sure the dude didn't make that word up? Is that possible? Or in that movie, a lot of the time, like he uses words that he hears along.
No, he uses words that he hears that day in his talking. So today I was looking it up, trying to figure out what is the term like when as words are used across syllables in song, and it's called prosody. So like the dude, I thought I'd use it today. But nice. He uses it and doesn't say that he learned it today. Yeah,
I think he's got a couple. He can speak for himself later, but he does seem to have a couple of like warning songs, almost like environmental sort of warnings. That's how I look at it, anyways. And speaking of the Alberta land and that landscape, I think I just read an interview, just sort of catching up with what he's been doing. How he described like Springsteen represents like the New Jersey landscape in that place, and he definitely represents like Southern Alberta in that area of the world for what he writes. It's beautiful.
Well, I think he speaks for the land, right? It's like he's constantly, it's just like, even there's so many great lyrics in this song. It's just like, I don't know, just like how he references small little things. And like I was going to say, Corb is a very deliberate artist. Like he spends time working at his craft. He doesn't like just kind of easily, like he's not a lazy writer is what I'm saying. He works really, really hard. Anything he uses, it's deliberate. It's meant to be there. And lyrically, he's a great lyricist. You know what I mean? It's almost like he dives into song. Like even he was like, I'm trying to think of the tune. You know what I mean? He does research. on all the songs, but this song specifically, he lives in that area. He knows that area, and he knows the
I love that.
wilderness.
What is it? Yeah, you might have said the lyric, but Connie said she never seen a cougar so bold. They're coming in the yard and stealing young colts. Like that idea, the image wise is like, oh.
And then the last one is they drag them in the brush with their claws sunk in their nose.
Yeah,
it's like
very much
beautiful.
Like yeah. Amazing. Love him. And we'll get to, he can maybe even speak a bit about that song. But we're going to move on to another killer lyricist. This is my pick.
Thanks, Steve.
Welcome.
Where did it go? Oh, here we go. Now, this is another one of these songs. I got to put up this shot of Uncle Joe. We call him Uncle Joe. Only the best artists are known as uncles, like Uncle Neil. This is Uncle Joe. And this, if you guys listen to the actual playlist, I think I put this on YouTube, which is probably the most drunken, cocaine-filled performance of this song ever in history. But he gets through it. And it's, again, I think I used to think as a kid this song was just stupid and like, wow, how dumb is this? It's so dumb. But now it's literally, I understand it's one of the greatest songs ever written. And when it comes on in the van, we're all like, pay attention and we listen to the whole thing.
Well, I get to sing.
Yeah, I remember coming on actually on that road near Calgary, between Lethbridge and Calgary. It came in the van and we all just shut up and were like, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's the way it starts with the weird little like synth drum, and then it's like it's almost like they came in from being outside having a smoke for like an hour. And then the drummer sat down and was like, and then Joe's like, just the slowest, amazing way to build a song. And then it just keeps layering up. And I was saying to you guys before this started, if you only know this song from the radio, go check it out. Well, you can see it on Spotify, or if you have the album version, I hope it's on the album version. This song is 8 minutes long, and at 8 minutes until 9 minutes. So the last minute is this guy making duck sounds or something. I'm not exactly sure. You have to check it out for yourself. But it's a nice little bonus at the end of a great track.
I don't think they ever played that on the radio because, like, I always listen to this song all the way through every time.
Definitely not. But we love Joe Walsh. Great performance too. If you ever see the Daryl Hall show, he has this show where he has people come by his studio loft or his barn loft, and they did that song, and it was amazing. It was awesome. So, love
Joe Walsh is even that album cover. If you go back to it, the one where he's floating at the bottom of a pool, it's a brilliant album cover. Yeah.
It's small up in the corner up there. Yeah. That's very much like Stars and Bars. It reminds me of the Neil record, Stars and Bars record.
And like I said to you, not to keep it going here, but it's just like when I was picking Wild Mountain Nation, I kind of felt that Blitzen Trapper was my pick because I was going to pick Joe Walsh.
Really?
What is it? Rocky Mountain, but I was like, oh, no, I can't pick Joe Walsh. And then you picked Joe Walsh.
Well, he's one of those stories too. We heard his story on the Marin podcast. His whole life is pretty crazy. So it makes you love him even more as an artist or whatever. But
exactly,
we're going to keep it moving. Ring that bell on me. I've been talking too long. We got to get to. Oh, pretty good. All right. So what do we got next?
We're moving on to the Cracker Cats.
That's right. Here we go.
Nice.
Many of you may not know the Cracker Cats. There you go. That'll help.
Help you.
They started out kind of like we did, actually, doing skiffly acoustic stuff, stompy. Of course, you guys got me, and they got Camilla, Melissa, and Eliza Doyle. And that's Eliza on the right, Camilla in the middle, and Melissa Eliza on the left. Sorry.
Yes.
Camilla in the middle and Melissa on the right. And just really energetic songs. Now, where is that taken? Because my thought was that they maybe hadn't played in Lethbridge, but I wanted to do it on this podcast.
Oh, no, they played in Lethbridge.
I feel like we may have played the Tongue and Groove together, but I don't know.
I wonder.
Feel like we might
they
have.
Just seem like that would be the town for them to explode from, and like we did our first show in Lethbridge outside of this province, and it was, that's kind of why we brought it up. It's as a city on its own to discuss, right? Because
and celebrate.
Yeah, it's the first place we played, and actually to a great effect. Like we were quite surprised the first time we went all the way out there in 2004, and we had no idea what to expect. And lo and behold, they'd been playing us on the radio. And
we've known them, especially Eliza, forever now. Like, I mean, she did a stint with the
Dead South. That's right.
Great Big South. That's what I meant to say.
The Great Big South.
And she's been a buddy forever, right? So it's like we've some of these friendships, as we'll talk about in the Lethbridge section as well. Pretty long.
Funny, when a couple of years ago we did that rock boat, and Eliza was on the rock boat with the Dead South, and it's her last name is Doyle, and of course. You mentioned Great Big Sea or Great Big South. You said Great Big Sea singer Alan Doyle. So same last name. And Eliza implored me to take a photo of them together, so it'd be like the Doyle siblings, you know.
Oh, Doyle rules.
Oh, Doyle. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, I love the Cracker Cats. I guess they were fairly short-lived. You know, I don't know where all the girls are right now. I know Eliza is doing some school, like some teaching, I think.
I feel like, is it possible that we did South Country Fair together? I know it was Agnostic Mountain Gospel Choir the year they might have been part of that lineup too, but I feel like they were a band well before we were even. They were already out in the prairies at least, but again, we don't do research.
Up the North Country, or the, what's it called? Ness Creek. We definitely did that one with them, north of Saskatoon.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So, again,
good pick. I like it.
Go to Spotify, have a listen.
Yeah, you should listen to it. They're amazing prairie band that we.
We're talking about working.
There you go.
Not wanting to work.
We got our other old man. We could even call this guy Uncle Neville. I would even put him in the uncle category of songwriters.
Yeah, Neville.
Love and Arbuckle. Of course, we love him.
So I picked this one.
This is a good shot, by the way.
Drunk me, drunk Luke Doucette, drunk everybody on stage, and Neville just belting it out.
I'm asking Pete if he wants a drink, I think. I don't think I'm even singing. I'm like, what do you have? And I'll get you something right now. Just like looking the other direction.
I love Neville. Neville's, you know, he's a soothsayer. He predicted the future with his pot leaf guitar.
Right.
Do you see that?
Not a pot smoker.
Yeah. It doesn't even smoke.
Not a pot smoker, but he has a pot
always
smoker.
had the pot leaf.
He knows how to get likes. He knows how to get the likes. Smash that like button, Neville.
This is a great tune. This is a great little like love song. Obviously, falling in love, trying to get something to happen. But the reason why I picked this one is one, because it's a great tune. It's beautiful how it kind of starts with like Neville just singing, and then all of a sudden you have the chorus of vocals coming in. But I picked it because he says a Mexican bar in Alberta, and me, obviously, I kind of like think that's actually Pincher Creek, and that's what I envision, anyways. The bar that he's playing in.
Here's a shot of what you're talking about. This is called
the Twin.
What's it called? The Twin Butte General Store, which is also a venue.
General store.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, when you hear that, if you are a traveling musician, which maybe some of you are, or if you've traveled through there and you're not super successful, you've probably played there because it's not a big venue. But you know, if you're on the smaller circuit, we've actually never got to play there. We've eaten there, but never played there. Well, yeah, that's when you hear Mexican bar somewhere in Alberta, it does remind me of that place. I mean, that's what I think it is too.
So for the most part, all the songs that I'm kind of picking are things that kind of remind me of the area in Lethbridge and southern Alberta, and specifically almost dying in, Pincher Creek and what is it? Why am I blanking?
Waterton Park. Yeah.
Waterton National Park. Yes.
Too close to the Grizzlies. 3 Ontario boys out in Grizzly land is not. Well, 4. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. But the other one, we all ran faster than him. That's what happened to that. That's the rule, right?
He was a good guy.
Yeah. What do? You run faster than one other person.
Make sure you have a dog with you. Yeah. Let the dog go in.
Neville is one of the first repeats on this A.C.R.O.N.Y.M experience. He's been on before. We've had his music on before. So he's obviously a favorite in the van. And yeah, this is from one of his later records. It's from XOK, which is a record or two ago, I guess, at this point.
And it's great. He's a great lyricist. You know what I mean? Like these are times for speaking low and whispering jokes. It's beautiful, beautiful, like little lyrics that you kind of like you lump onto, and you can kind of just, turn your headphones on and sit back and enjoy him. Nice. He's a great dude. Good lyricist. NQ.
NQ Arbuckle. Definitely check. He should be part of your life. As they say.
He should be.
Who says that? I say that.
Take him along.
Right. We're moving along, and we're going to shift gears into one of my favorite hip hop bands, if you could call them that. MCs, Phife Dawg and Q-Tip, Tribe Called Quest. Amazing. They put out only quality records. This one is my favorite song. It's called Check the Rhyme. Here they are. There's Phife in the middle. Rest in peace. Q-Tip on the left. But yeah, Steve, you know this song. I always make you listen to this, but you like it. And Noah loves it. And he's one to throw it on. This is just an incredible summertime, perfect hip hop album. I think it has some of the greatest samples in my mind ever. I'd like to Check the Rhyme horns off the top. If you listen to this song, the intro, and I looked up whose sample it was. It's Minnie something. I forget her name. It's an old song.
They have Ron Carter on bass. They have this jazz. Great.
And the video alone, it's one of those songs. Sometimes a video will just take it to another level. And the video for this is shot on the roof of a place, I think somewhere in New York. They are East Coast, but I'm not entirely. And it's like the whole neighborhood showed up and everyone's out in the streets just going and they're on the roof. It's just unbelievable. So like every now and then we do take a turn into the hip hop side of things in the van. Like listened to a lot of like gangster rap when I was before Nirvana came out. That's all I listened to.
Casey freestyles, actually.
Where's your photo of you wearing?
Oh, I got photo.
Yeah.
I don't have any right now, but yeah, I asked my parents for some. We
hat?
couldn't find any. I'm going to
You
get a
had a
new one
Raiders
soon.
hat.
I had a Raiders hat. I had a Kings hat. I had a Death Row hat. I had all that stuff. But this was like the first non-gangster rap hip hop that I really loved. It was like they weren't swearing all the time. It was sort of positive. So moved into that direction, and it was like people's instinctive. What is that record? Rhythms in I forget.
Yeah,
the first record.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that like this is hit after hit. We got the jazz, every song on here. But if you don't know Tribe, this is a good sort of gateway track into them that I would suggest you check out for sure.
Yeah.
And
you and Justin Rutledge, I remember one night,
right?
You and Justin at a party in Ottawa, you and Justin nailing this like almost the whole thing.
We did a little Public Enemy, and I think we did some. I think we did some of this.
Tribe, yeah.
You guys
Point
were,
Tip all the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys were on point that night.
Yeah. Well, we were. There was imported tequila and a whole bunch of reasons to be good like that. Anyways, I love the Tribe. Check them out. You probably already have.
Good pick.
But we're gonna switch to Steve Pitkin's last pick of the day.
Yeah. So Angel of Montgomery. This is my opportunity here. That man right there, John Prine, passed away on this very day 1 year ago.
Really? Already?
Yes, already.
That's
he was
crazy.
one of the first celebrities to be a victim of COVID-19. He's fairly old, but he didn't.
Wow.
Nobody saw that coming.
It didn't seem like. Yeah, I knew he'd obviously knew he'd
been through a few things, a few health issues. Yeah, but and that's if you've been through a few health issues, that's your prime candidate, I guess. Sad. I found that out after I picked the song. I was looking it up, and April 7th. Wow, we're doing A.C.R.O.N.Y.M that night.
I was going to reference the whole like Kurt Cobain and Lane Staley April 5th thing, but I didn't realize he was right to the day. That's crazy.
And you know what? Just as an aside, I always thought it was Lance Daly. I'm probably not the only person until I read it recently. That was Lane Staley.
Oh,
you didn't listen to a lot of Alice in Chains, did you?
No, I was
going to say. He did not.
I never read about them, that's for sure. So I thought Lance Staley.
Lance
Sounds like a news anchorman.
Oh my God, that makes
right?
This is such because I love Alice in Chains so much and that whole kind of music. To think that his name would be Lance Daly.
I only read it in regards to the Kurt Cobain obits because Kurt died on the 5th of April. So it was a bunch of stuff. And then people are like, yeah, and Lane Staley. And I'm like, they're spelling it wrong.
Lance Daly passes away from a heroin overdose.
You're killing me, Steve.
Oh, that's awesome.
It sounds like a news anchor. Come sing.
That's how I'm going to know him from now on. Yes. Lance Daly. Yeah, or some kind of athlete.
We're as often can happen. Is we got off topic there, but John Prine, man, and I got to go through a whole sort of rabbit hole of John Prine songs, and man, this one in particular, though, I didn't know he wrote it. Angel from Montgomery. It's sung in first person as a woman, and I think Bonnie Raitt made it famous. So I probably knew her version, and I definitely. Having done sound in a number of clubs over the years, I've heard many people do the song. So it's just it's a classic song. Who's
commenting as us?
I don't know.
Are we commenting on ourselves? Someone hacked our stuff. It's all good. We do love the song.
There you go. Leslie Spit Trio did it. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Susan DeCarche.
There we go. She's probably helping us out. Hi, Sue. Hi, Jude.
Awesome.
Did you jump on when he came to Hamilton, Steve? I didn't get to see him.
No. But I saw he played in George Strombopa's room, and there's a video of him.
Yeah, I saw that.
And a whole classic who's who of the Toronto.
I've seen this.
And Gordon Lightfoot's there, and Gordon Lightfoot's sitting down in front of the stage, and he kind of brings Gord to tears because he goes, "This song, I remember playing with you, and back in the '70s in Toronto, and we came out on the street, and you were singing the chorus to me, and there, Gord's singing along. And anyways, just he has a way, of bringing the heart into the music. And funny enough, like a lot of the chords and things are almost like anthems. Like there's like even Angel from Montgomery, the way the chorus comes in, you can almost hear it being like a Guns N' Roses song or something. It's got all this intense like power, powerful chords. I guess that's just the way he wrote, but the real power is in the lyric.
I think he's considered pretty much one of those like songwriters, you know, for sure. Like it took me a long time to even find out about him, to be honest.
We did that thing at South by one year in a hotel lobby, and he played after.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
No, that was John Hyatt.
Oh, corrected. I sang
I
correct.
thought it was John Prine too.
Well, I was going to be like, I would have noticed if John Prine played behind us. I thought it was great that John Hyatt played.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Either way, at the time I was like, John who? I was kind of like,
we're still going to put it on our resume. Like he probably played South by Southwest. So we did play with him at some point.
Yeah.
Has shared stages or festivals with these names.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. And I was, anyways, happy to have discovered John Prine's music much deeper thanks to this podcast.
Well, here we're going to move on to Mark's last pick, which these guys are likely fans of Mr. Prine as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, this is. I think Bliss and Trapper's been on here because you picked Fur before.
That's my favorite song.
Maybe on the very first podcast.
Yeah, it was the inaugural.
Old shot.
Absolutely.
So when we were thinking about acronym for Lethbridge, I was doing my floors upstairs in my house, and then this song came on, and I was like, how can I not pick this song, even though it's the second time that they've been on the podcast? Wild Mountain Nation is awesome. It's so good. The lyrics, as per usual, they knock it out of the park. But the one thing that I find that's really awesome with this particular song is the standouts for me are the drums.
I was just going to say the same thing. They sound so thick and amazing. Like I was going to say this.
But it's not your traditional, like he's not like constantly keeping the beat. He's almost playing with the guitars, which are playing guitarmony all the way along. And it's also mixing with the lyrics. So for me, that's the big standout for this one. I was just like, it's just so good. And it's Joe Walsh-esque because these guys, for me, they kind of channel Southern rock at the same time as they're like lyricists of Bob Dylan. It's like Bob Dylan meets rock. It just kills every time.
Yeah.
These guys are so good. And they're great dudes as well on top of that. So that's why I picked this song.
Always nice. They're one of the bands that I always push on people who maybe don't know them. I don't know why. You know, I just feel like I probably said it the last time. They seem like they should be a massive band that everyone knows. And I think they're decent size, but I always think underrated when I think of that band. It's just like every album is amazing, standout tracks all the time, and like no filler. There's always so much to get into. And then, you meet them and they're like that amazing and normal. And it's like, okay, we love you.
They're from one of our favorite towns in the whole wide world.
Portland,
Oregon.
And from Portland, we go up north a state to my last pick.
Oh, okay.
You can read it first. There you go.
Nice.
You're right.
Nice transition.
A bit of I picked, had a few nights in a row of like, I went down the ultimate 80s massive rabbit hole. And then I watched an interview with these girls on Dan Rather when Dan Rather interviewed. And to be honest, I've always loved Heart. I love the early stuff. This comes from their like era of like quote unquote sellout album where other people wrote songs for them and their label told them to do like all these songs, these big hair songs. They were already a completely legitimate rock band with like Barracuda and Magic Man and all that stuff. But then they agreed to do this sort of like more pop stuff, which obviously is like putting their grandkids through college at this point. It's like they were huge songs. What About Love is a massive hit. I sort of got drawn into it by I told you guys the whole Bonnie Tyler thing. I went through that whole thing of watching all, and then I just kept watching it. In this video. Like when in this era of like, 200 million, I don't know how much these videos cost, but probably expensive for the time. There's a part where like they pour molten metal into a mold and then the guitarist, I think it's Annie or whatever. Is it Annie? Which Heart is
I don't know.
When she comes out of it, she like rises out of the metal and she is like formed from molten metal.
Oh,
it's
nice.
Like the people who came up with these videos, what a time that must have been. But I can't really defend the song other than I like it. I think it's an amazing track.
But sometimes, those are, you gotta, if you like it, you like it. Why fight it sometimes?
And like which haircut would you choose if you could pick one of these haircuts? There's so many good ones here. I think I might pick the guy on the far right. I think I have it already almost. My haircut currently is the second. Actually, we're the two guys on the right because there's me right there with the blue, the light blue shirt.
You're the light blue shirt, and I'm in the stripes.
Yeah, totally.
Oh man, I tried for 15 years to get that, and then finally, mullets weren't popular anymore.
Yeah, I love Heart, man. I think they're one of the great. And again, you hear their story, and hear them speak. And they talk about in Seattle how like in the grunge era in the 90s, all those bands would like come to them and be like, thank you so much for paving the way. Because they're the original Seattle. They were a Seattle band.
Jimi Hendrix.
Well, yeah, I know, but you know how Noah talks about it. He's always like, they're the original Seattle, like, band. And so like Alice in Chains and what'd you call him? Dale Staley or Lance Daly.
Lance
Daly and Kurt Cobain would all be very like, they were like, you know, idolizing them, and they were sort of surprised by that whole thing, which I found pretty cool. So that should conclude. You can ring me out. That's all I have to say about Heart.
That's good. We're only 1 minute over.
I know. We're going to bring in our pal Corb Lund, I think, if that's cool, to talk about Lethbridge. Bring him in.
Oh, there he is.
He's there, but can he hear us?
Hey,
buddy.
How's it going?
Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah. We can hear you great. Absolutely.
Right on. Right on. I got the expensive mic up for you guys.
It's nice. I know. What is that thing? Wow. I don't know gear.
I don't know either.
It's a microphone, basically.
My buddy told me to get it, so I got it.
That's how it works with me too. It's like you should have this. Okay.
Looks like we're in the same room.
Yeah, I love it. In the workshop.
I tell people this is I had paid a lot of money to have this backdrop created.
It's a good one. It's absolutely a good one. It reminds me, I don't know if you know a guy. Do you know who Bo of the Fifth Column is? The YouTuber guy. He's like a progressive Southern guy, but he does his stuff from his workshop. It looks kind of like that. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah,
great to see you.
Here's the tour.
Yeah, I guess get a shot of the spot.
Tour.
Oh, nice.
Tool.
There you go.
I need one of those. I need a big garage like that.
Yeah.
Organization is key.
That's right.
It is.
So
hey, man, I can we swear?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I fucking love Joe Walsh. I didn't know you guys liked
Joe. I'm so glad because now I feel bad about the whole Burton Cummings thing back in a few years back when I was making fun of his mustache at your house. But maybe you don't remember.
I don't remember that. We can get into that if you want.
How did that work? Where was the mustache? It was on his wall or something, right?
It's a yak rug.
It was
like a yak rug on his rug.
Oh, the muskox.
Yeah, there you go.
We had Siemens on a few weeks ago, or whatever, months, I guess. He was on for Manitoba, so we were laughing about all that tour and everything. It was so fun.
Have you ever heard the live version of Life's Been Good from the Eagles live record?
I don't but I don't know offhand. Like the one I put up on this playlist is the live one from some weird daytime talk show.
Live, right?
Okay. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. He's a whack job, right?
Oh yeah, man. He's awesome. He's awesome.
He was. I don't know if you're an Eagles fan, but he joined the Eagles like when Bernie Leadon left, or maybe Don Felder. But
he was like the hired gun, right? To come in
and it was a deliberate choice to make them more of a rock band, I think.
Yeah.
Well, he had more hits than they did.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
When he joined, right? So
and apparently, like he did all the crazy stuff, like chainsaw the hotel room shit.
He was the guy. Yeah.
He grew up. Keith Moon showed him all that stuff personally. He said,
"Yeah, that's what he said." Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles guys like Don Henley and Ben Fry, they pretended to be mad, but secretly thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, he's. I mean, now you think about it, he's like a key part of that whole whatever's left at this point.
Well, so on that live version, he has the thing where he's a wacky guy, and he's like. They write me letters, tell me I'm great. He changed it to like, they write Don letters, tell Glenn Tim's great.
Exactly. His warped mind.
A Walshism.
I mean, it's like I said earlier, I was just like, as a kid, I thought it was just a ridiculous song that was funny. And then it's like, now I just like,
pretty good, right?
Incredible song. Absolutely.
He also wrote this riff.
Oh, yeah. Life in the fast lane.
Funk 49.
So good.
Yeah, Funk 49.
Yeah, Funk 49.
Yeah, love that one.
Cool. Probably. I don't know would he be considered an underrated guitarist? Maybe. I don't know. Like he's never really mentioned with like.
He hasn't stuck around. Like at the time he was, I think. Like I remember seeing guitar magazines and stuff, but he's not looked. People now don't look back and go, "Oh, Joe Walsh, what a great guitar player."
Yeah. No, I don't think he's mentioned in like the, gods kind of thing or whatever. Like for some reason.
How about the conga drums in Funk 49?
Oh, I love it.
And the all that shit.
It's awesome. Well, I mean, he's just such a unique, look at this shirt. It's so amazing. Like this is the best to me. Like if you've ever seen this, Corb, I don't know if you've seen this version. This is from the video of a live video version. And it's just like, he's barely hanging on.
Forgets
like
it's morning TV. It's morning television.
Like 72 hours of being awake and just showing up literally for breakfast television and being like, he looks around. There's moments in it where he looks at the other guys. He's like, what is this supposed to go like this?
Well, because he misses up. messes up the first bit. He messes up the first bit.
Right off the top. Well, he's like, my buddies. Yeah. It's
Morning TV is the worst, no?
You've done a bunch of that, I'm sure, haven't you?
And it's like the hosts must all be related or something, because they're like, they're looking at the clipboard while you're answering the question, and they're formulating questions for the cat picnic.
And they're so energetic somehow, like, and weirdly like sprightly, and of course,
and they look kind of through you somehow. It's weird.
But we did one they like you. They pretend like they like you. You guys are so good. You've never. But they also
pretend to like the guy running the cat picnic right after you too.
We have a clipboard with your information, Mr. Brood. Always, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, buddy, how's your pandemic? What are you doing? What are you up to?
I don't know. Oh, my pandemic or Alberta's?
Yeah.
Well, yours and Alberta's, but personally for you as a musician, sort of first or whatever.
We keep bouncing back and forth between being locked down and not locked down, and not locked down enough and locked down too much. I don't know. Whatever. I just.
Are you guys locked down again?
Come Friday, apparently. Yeah. You guys are kind of having it rough too, aren't you?
Yep.
We are. We're locked down again today, as of today.
You know,
but what have you been doing? Like, what are you doing to like kind of get through it?
So for me, the deal was, as you guys know, if it hits you like at the right time in the cycle, wouldn't really make much of a difference, right? Like if you're writing, but we hadn't put out a record for like 3 years, and we were super stoked and had, you know, the new kick drum graphic and the new stage banner and the bus rented and the 5 months of tour booked, and we got 1 week into it in Colorado and had to shut her down. And then so our record had to come out in the pandemic. It's called Agricultural Tragic. And that kind of sucks, but I'm starting to think that in the long term, people will remember it, because this is going to be like the Cuban Missile Crisis or World War II. Everyone's going to remember COVID, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, say we put our record out in September. Same thing. We're like,
you were around in COVID? Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people tell me they were thankful for new music. So I think in the long run, like it, you know, I didn't get the career bump that you usually get from touring it, but I think in the long run, it'll live in people's hearts that way, probably.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then it was a financial hit for all of us. So those two things sucked, but the rest of it's been all right. Cause like, if I compartmentalize that stuff, I've been grinding this stuff since my entire adult life. And
well, that's what I was wondering, if it's like a bit, at first, at least, was it a bit of a break that you were like, hey, it's kind of good.
And
that's all right.
And I've been like taking vocal lessons and guitar lessons and writing a ton and learning cover songs and fixing shit and learning how to change guitar pickups out and all kinds of stuff. So I
was wondering if you'd built a cabin or something in the year that you had time to build another something.
I fixed a lot of fence on the ranch.
There you go.
Seen the family, and it's been good. Ask me again in the summer, I'll probably be sick of it by then, but
I hope we're all hoping things start to open up.
I do miss the visceral energy exchange of the Sweaty Rock Show, though.
Absolutely. Have you done much of the, did you get into the streaming online thing and all that stuff?
We did a bunch at the beginning, and then we kind of backed off of it because I think people kind of had enough of those.
Yeah, it's pretty low shelf life for that, I thought.
And I did a handful of weird distancey shows, you know, like a couple drive-in shows and a couple of like super tables apart shows.
Yeah, you did a really good campfire one. That was pretty great. That was before the pandemic. That was last year. Oh, was it really? Mm-hmm. And then you aired it. Did you air it after? Is that how it?
Yeah.
That I saw? Okay.
Yeah, I think we all need to pre-package shows now, so we're ready for the next disease. You just have a whole catalog of music and stuff to put out.
It kind of worked out that way for us because we had a bunch of B-sides and stuff they weren't even B-sides. They just didn't make the sequence on the new record, and we just re-released them like a couple of weeks ago. So we didn't know that was going to happen, but it turned out to be good timing to have some extra dry powder right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're ready to get back at it soon, probably as soon as you
can. Although I'm still cool. I'm still enjoying. Like I haven't honestly had time to sharpen my tools like this for forever, really. Like because once you get into make the record, tour the record, write the record cycle, it just is ongoing.
Repeats. Right? Yeah. No, I know.
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
No, I'm just saying it's like that's that cycle being interrupted for all of us. It's like I knew what I was doing for like 15, 16 years generally. Right. And then now it's like, at first it was a nice break from having to do all that and be home. And then it was like, start to get a little itchy about it. And like, oh no, man, what am I going to do?
Yeah. You know, I feel bad for like bands like you guys and us. Like we can probably hibernate for a year or two and pop back up, and it's cool. But
Yeah.
like young bands who are just, when you're just starting out and that spark comes, and you really got to
Totally.
fan that spark because it might only come once. I feel bad for
Yeah.
those bands that
Yeah.
were just getting rolling, and 2 years later, maybe their whole fan base has grown up, or who.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
they got to
like,
move on, right? It's like, what do you have? You can't hold on to it. You're like, I got to go
Yeah.
get a real job. I have to go and survive, as opposed to
And
like
venues too, right? Classic venues too.
Oh,
we're seeing them
brutal.
go all the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Alberta's haven't really have you
Mhm.
lost any yet? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
we've
sure you
lost-
have.
We lost
been-
the Empress in Edmonton.
Oh wow, yeah. Because I know Starlight's always been in trouble too. I hear it in Brent talking
Yeah,
about
I'm not
Starlight
sure
a lot.
the
And,
status of that one,
yeah,
but I've
like,
heard rumblings.
yeah, we lost like Sneaky D's and like even record stores. Soundscapes in Toronto gone now. It's just all these little chipping away at everything that we all understand.
And there'll be another venue, but that's cultural heritage, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the people will move in to replace that stuff, but there's
It's not the same though, right?
like I was thinking earlier when we were going to be talking to you, I was like, if you go to any venue that's older than 20 years in this country and you don't see a small sticker in the dressing room or like the bathroom, then it's not a proper place, right? Like when we first, so we're talking about Lethbridge today, basically. This show is like we focus on different parts of the country, but Lethbridge in general, we're doing this whole, we're sticking with that area. Because it's literally, we left Ontario on our first tour and ended up in Lethbridge. It was the first place that booked it. It was
I
crazy.
heard the blurb about that, and I had no idea that was the case. That's really cool.
Yeah, so it was like it was Todd and Corey at the Tounge and Groove, just basically were the guys who brought us in.
Right.
And we drove from Toronto for 3 days to get there, and like the rest is history.
We were
whatever.
about to
kept
skip
being-
it though. Like
Yeah.
if you heard the blurb, we were about to skip the show because we're like, we're going to go to Calgary. Who's going to be in Lethbridge to see us play?
Yeah, yeah.
We it was our first show, and we're like, nobody's going to be there, and we're like, no, we got to go. We got to honor it. We told them we're going to go. They're just going to pay us the door, whoever showed up, and we showed
Well,
up.
you know what
and
they paid us? Let me just quickly. I
Do
don't
you
want to
know?
interrupt you, but let me just show you something quick. Let's watch. This is is a minute long here. Just
Oh,
let
you
me
have a
pop this
video?
up.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
let's hit the video.
Hit the
Hey, what's up? I think it's day 6. We're still in Lethbridge, we're leaving, and it didn't take us that long to finally end up here. Because we had a really, really late night, and wow, what a town. These guys have been amazing to us. Sorry, turn this around. Hey, what's up? We had played one of the best sets we've ever played last night. It was so fun. And look, there's 2 of them right there. And then they paid us $75, and our bar tab was actually over probably $400 again. Yeah. How's the McDonald's?
Hey, there we go. Look at this. Now
Steal
that's
the
a guess.
show.
Oh, we already had star power. There we go. That'll get the.
What's her name? Who's that?
Her name is Billie Holiday.
Oh, beauty.
That's
sweet.
that's some super cool footage, man.
I have like 9 hours of our first tour on VHS. It's way too much, but I have these little clips I took out. But the sort of point in there was like they paid us $75 and our bar tab was $400, which is like pretty accurate to that era of like traveling out there. And just it's more than once did that kind of happen to us.
No,
Blues
that
Brothers.
was your first big tour out of this area, or what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
first
it
out of
was.
our first Canadian tour, and I had a sweet chin strap at that point. It was pretty.
You played the
pretty
Slice?
sweet. No, this was Tongue and Groove. Well, this is years before. Yeah,
Corey's
yeah.
Place, yeah.
And
Yeah,
the funny
absolutely.
thing is, we saw like when you're walking in, and you see posters. Your poster, you got Pure.
This one,
Post
Corby. You
was
must
on the
remember this guy
door.
here.
That's where he first heard of you. That's right.
We're like,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're like, this guy kills it, man. Every New Year's he plays, he kills it every time. And we're like, who's Corb Lund?
Yeah.
And we go on to tour with you like a year later. You know what I mean? So
That's cool. You know, I got into some real late night card games with Corey and his crew.
Yeah, we didn't play cards, but it was always late for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that place was
I-
a legend. You know?
It was. I really liked it, and I liked the guys that ran it. I liked Corey, but I was always amazed that it remained open, continued to stay.
It's still a mystery to me. I remember one night where like it was like 2 or 3 in the morning. The doors were still open, and Steve was bartending. Corey was like asleep on. It was just like it had gotten to the ultimate party. Like
People were
it felt like a
still
living
coming
room.
in
Yeah, it was
off
like
the street.
yeah, and I loved it. It was just like this can't possibly continue, can it? I don't know. Maybe what
the
business
flame
model is
burned
it?
well. It burned well.
But he loved artists. He took care of us. The point is that was like one night, and he loved to make sure it was like a party every time. Basically, like we would sleep on those couches on our first trip through. Like we kept coming back. I think we were there like 3 times in the first. Like we played the show, and then they asked us to come back 2 days later for the open mic, which we hosted and played. We only knew like 12 songs at the time. Like
Yeah.
we had no idea we had like an EP and a couple of Tom Petty covers or something, and we would just play them over and over again. I guess I don't really recall how we filled a night of it, but made a ton of friends, and it was like such like chaotic place of just play music, drink till you're tired, and then sleep in the bar kind of thing or whatever. It was such a weird time.
Those early shows when your band is just starting out and you're playing the funkiest of the funky dives, it's just so chaotic because there's no money to worry about, right? So no one's worried about money, and it's just like chaos.
That's true.
The whole thing is about a party. Those shows are fun.
Yeah, that whole first and that trip as we went through Alberta, your poster, we must have been 3 or 4 days away from whenever you were touring, like generally a lot of the same venues, or we'd see, owners who own the same, but we'd see that poster everywhere. Who's this A.C.R.O.N.Y.M guy? Like, who's this guy? Who's this guy?
And who's the Smalls?
You're on my you're on my turf.
And we found out later as when we toured with you on that record, when we saw what Alberta thinks of you, was pretty sweet. And I don't think to this day have sold as much merch as we did on that tour.
I was going to say that. It's like when we played the Jack Singer, I think it was the Jack Singer. I was like, what is happening? It's like, we thought, it's like, we're like just selling out of our stuff. And it's just like, and then you look over at your stuff and it's like, well, we're doing okay. C.R.O.N.Y.M's doing really good.
Yeah, well, I remember because we would be back with Joe Party and the whole crew you guys had rocking back then. It was pretty sweet, and seeing like, wow, this is how music works. This is cool. This could be good. We're like, this is $100. This is a lot of money. This is great.
You guys killed on that tour. I became a really big fan on that tour.
That was like,
you showed ropes on that tour. Like on that tour, you guys showed us the ropes. We kind of it was our first big band that you're touring with. You're playing major venues, and it's just like you guys were like the nicest, kindest dudes every night, and it was awesome. Like taking us into your home, when we were in Edmonton, all of that stuff. It was such a treat.
I just remember that tour as being a big party.
It was, yeah. It was we're talking maybe a year after the video I just showed, which is like, we were still in that mode of kind of like, we'll go home and go back to work maybe or something, but right now we're like, we're in the mountains and we're just having a blast. And being an opener, as maybe if you've opened for other people, it's so much simpler. Like, you get last sound check, you go up, your stuff's there. You're ready to go. It's like so fun.
And then you get to chat everybody up and hang out.
Well, that's how we met half the people that see us now, is through that tour, quite literally. I mean, we probably drove a few away as well, but I remember specifically on that tour in Edmonton where someone complained to your management about the singer of Elliott Brood smoking weed outside or something. Remember that?
They wrote
they thought it was
they thought it was me. Sorry, and they wrote management.
I thought they blamed it on me.
Wrote booking agencies and said that I ruined their night and they left because it smelled like pot. It's like, I don't even smoke pot.
Well, it was me. Pot. It was definitely me.
Like no one in the venue would have been responsible for that, I'm sure, right?
No one. I believe there was like a Hutterite couple. They were very religious or something, and they weren't happy with the whole situation or something.
But as a young band, we thought we were going to get off the tour. We're like, oh shit, man! Like shit's going to go down. We're off this tour. And it was like, no, that wasn't the case, but
it worked out pretty good. Yeah, man. So we're just talking about the area you're from, Taber. You're from Taber, right, Corb?
Yeah.
Originally. Is this true? Because I have this one shot here. Is Taber the corn capital of Canada? Is that true?
It is, yeah.
Do you know this float? Have you ever seen this before?
I've seen similar ones.
Because the Taber slogan is, if it's not Taber corn, get it the hell out of my house. That's what I researched. I'm not eating it.
Yeah, they're pretty militant about the corn, yeah.
Well, it's funny because where we're from, Mark and I, in Ontario, is a pretty corn-heavy area too.
I was going to say there might be some places in Southern Ontario that would challenge that, but
tobacco.
That's right.
Yeah.
Brady, our drummer, their family are big farmers and they grow a lot of corn actually.
Yeah. How's Brady doing? Say hi for us when you see him.
Yeah, he's good. Velgertson corn is well known around these parts.
I would imagine so. Would be. I was asking Mark if he knew what this is, but sometimes there's traffic jams in the Lethbridge area, like when you're driving into town, you can see something like an 18-wheeler passing a spaceship or whatever.
That's literally from our tour. Like I remember you taking that photo or something. One of us did.
I think so. I'm not sure where I got this from, but this is at standard. This is like literally 5 p.m. on outside of Lethbridge going into town. But
probably a piece of oil field equipment or something.
Yeah, I would imagine so. It's a beautiful part of the world.
It is, yeah. It's the I grew up in Taber, which is a half an hour away. I grew up in the country outside of Taber. And then I went when I was 18 or 19, I left to I was in Edmonton. I moved to Edmonton for 20 years and I just moved back here about about 5 years ago, and it's been great because family's here and the ranch is here, and it's a really cool town. It might be a little slow for me if the rest of my life wasn't utter chaos, but it's really cool going on tour. You know, as you know, it's just insanity, and then coming back here because it's like Lethbridge is like it's got everything that you need, but it's like white picket fence land and just super chill, right?
It's got it reminds me of I wouldn't say Austin necessarily, but it's this weird, like
See that?
all the weirdos, at least when we play, all the weirdos from town are hanging out in this sort of like farmer, I don't know, cowboy type of place. I was considered like we got to hang out with all the kind of like artistic and different people that were in that small little town, which I thought was sweet.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's kind of it's got a little arts thing in the middle of an agricultural setting. Eh?
It didn't feel like segregated into different categories of people. It felt like everyone who loved music was there, so therefore they were friends, you know. And they weren't necessarily they would necessarily hang out together otherwise, but they were all fans, so it was, you know, a close-knit group.
It's a small enough community that the music people who like music, they kind of hang together.
And here
Shayla.
Did you see my post about that?
I did.
That's our band, eh?
That's crazy. That's we just found this out from you, obviously. This is this. I'll just set it up for people who aren't watching from Lethbridge. This is the Slice. This is sort of the current venue that's been around. I don't know how long has the Slice been there now. 12, 13. I don't even know.
What a while.
Yeah, it's their home. Jesse and Tyler, they bake. It's the best pizza in all of that part of the world for sure. Probably even, I don't know. Definitely, it's the best out there. It's
so good. Pizza. Tyler's own pizza.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So the band depicted here, what is this? Is this a country trio or is this what?
No, this is me and Kurt. The only one that really looks like that's Kurt, right, on the bass.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
That's my body singing, but they changed my hair, my face, and that's Ryan Vickedal drumming, who went on to play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Went on to play with who?
Nickelback.
Oh,
that's right. Okay, there you go.
And that was at the U of L in a venue called the Zoo, which isn't there anymore. And I didn't realize till recently that I should have figured it out, but that's for sure Shayla in the front. Right?
That's Shayla.
Yeah, well, there she is.
Yeah.
I'll just bring her up here. There she is in person. I just slid her in front. So yeah, Shayla. And I had to put this picture up because that guitar she's playing is one I was after for many years. I finally got one. But
is that a Harmony?
It's a Stratotone, an H49. It's either some are called Jupiters, but it's the one I have is called an H49. It depends on if it was a. Some are named Harmony, and what's the other one? They would forget the other name, but they're just gorgeous. And she's always had amazing looking gear and sounding gear too. Great songwriter. She's the first person that we actually met in Lethbridge in the park, if you guys remember that.
Really?
Yeah, we were like sitting in that main park, and she's just this hippie girl walks by. She's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And the first person that we made contact with, Shayla welcomed us into the rest of this universe of like amazing people. Yeah. So it was cool.
A lot of the people who were at our very first show still come to our shows in Lethbridge. We still see them. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's neat.
Do you remember, Corb, when the club we played with you? I mean, Lethbridge has an amazing number of sort of rocker bars. Like, for the size of the town, it has a ton of like clubs. I think seemingly.
But we did two bars with you, Corb.
Wasn't one an auditorium?
Because one was a theater, and then the other one was a club. I'm pretty sure.
Shoot, there's a bar called. What is it called?
It would have been in the east end of town for sure. I remember that.
They changed names, right? So it's hard to remember.
Yeah, of course. It had like big rails around the stage.
Oh yeah.
Like wasn't Esmeralda
sports bar.
Could have been. Who knows? Again, you're right. It probably had 10 different.
Yeah, I can't remember anymore.
At some point, every bar is called Oxygen at some point, and then it changes to something else. It's like it could have been that at the time. But we've played I think we mentioned it earlier. Lethbridge is the town we've played the most out of any town on earth over the years. It just so happens that it just worked out that way. It's like whether it's at, in the early days, the Tongue and Groove, I don't know, probably 20, 30 times, who knows? Not that many, but a lot. And then the Slice being our home ever since, and then random ones in between. I think Todd guy booked us, but I forget.
There's a cool place called the Owl that you guys
right, yeah, small venue. We've never gone. We always hear about that place.
Played there.
Yeah, it's a little more acousticy. And
then I think BA plays there. BA wanted me to put this up, actually. BA Johnson was making sure that I got this right, because Progress Clothing in Lethbridge is like where time just stopped, basically. I think you can get clothes from like the mid 70s.
People's clothing store.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time we were there, Kay, and I was taking photos, and then the owner stopped us and was like, accosting me for taking photos and wanted me to delete the photos. Like, how dare I take photos in his store?
Well, yeah, no,
I was just,
it's like
trying to document
there's
it.
rare
I was like,
clothing in there. They have
amazing.
those old like Safeway raincoats that you fold up into the pouch
Yeah.
and would wear around your. They have like some amazing old gear in there.
That's
But yeah,
why
B.A. Johnson wanted me to mention that. So
I used to get my mom used to get me winter coats there.
absolutely, my son has an amazing yellow windbreaker that I bought there. It's like I had to dust it off. I was like cleaning it as I was buying it. It's crazy.
Yeah, for the background on that place, I don't know. I've been going there since I was a child, but I think those folks are from either Hungary or Romania. But they, yeah, you're right. Like time stood still in there. It's like they stopped getting any new stock.
Yeah,
That's progress.
76.
You're right. Absolutely.
They have so many old hats, like just piles of them.
And plus, it's the home of the absurdly large cowboy shirt. I don't know. I know cowboys are big dudes. You're a big guy, Core, but these shirts, like, right? Like you're holding it up. It's like owl wings or something. It's like, who wears this thing? This is craziness.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, nothing good.
No, I always do the pawn shops too.
Oh, here we go. Is this the name? The Roadhouse?
The Roadhouse? Oh, yeah, the Roadhouse.
That might have been the Roadhouse. Yeah.
Probably
there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Progress is like what they have now is cool, but like circa like 1991, they had like 10 times as much stuff. Like no one had discovered it, and since then, like people from boutiques in Vancouver have come and cleaned them out and stuff. And like, but yeah, there was a time where it was really like when I was, a teenager, old enough. Once I reached I just thought it was normal when I was a little kid, but once I reached like mid to late teens, where I realized this place is funky as hell. It's
especially in the 90s, the flannel would have been amazing for that era of dress. Like,
and the vinyl,
all that.
It's funny that the name is Progress. That they're stuck in the past.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Put the picture up again, because if you look close, there's a little sign that says Klinger's Wholesale.
Klinger there on the side, right? Gotcha.
That's always been there too, and I don't know what that's about. If that was a subdivision of the store or what. But
weird. I like the one on the smaller picture. Progress. It's got men's boys clothes. I think it says.
Men's boys wear.
Men's boys wear, which is boys wear by men. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
yeah. It's because we do get to always spend a lot of time. Here's another place we hit every time. You must know the King of Trade. Here we go.
That's where I bought a K Zildjian cymbal there. I bought my kick drum suitcase kicks there. That might even be our van out front.
Probably one of the tours. Yeah. Here we go. George and David in the garage. Yeah, we might get into some of that after.
It's another one.
Locals.
In a pinch, you can also sell your guitar there.
That's true. Absolutely. I think I bought 4 different cases for the same piece of gear in that store and kept upgrading every time I would go back. And now they've made a bit more of a serious attempt at a music store in the basement there too. They got a bit more.
Again, bring the picture up.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
And then look at the name of that on the right hand.
Serious music. I know. I love that. Actually. That's pretty great. It's like I don't know how much time was spent on that name, but it's got to be serious. It's got to be serious. It's great. There's a lot of abnormal amount of Flying V guitars in that store. I will say that, and Charvel Jackson guitars. I noticed that as well. A lot of like pointy things.
It's really interesting. You guys have decided to discover and celebrate the quirks of Lethbridge, because there was me and Mike, the singer from the Smalls, we grew up here, right? And we used to go, like, before King of Trade, there was 2 or 3 real funk. In the old days before eBay, like the pawn shop finds are even funkier because now everybody's hip to eBay. So if it's worth anything, they sell on eBay. But we found some really weirdo T.S. Goodell Ray style guitars back in the day there at some of those stores, untouched for God knows how many decades, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think I bought a guitar there. We bought a lot of other things like weird video games for hotel rooms and stuff, and just random. Like they have a huge selection of like the video game stuff. Is pretty
Atari. You get some Atari stuff.
Yeah, I got the old Atari there. Like random. I'm trying
DVDs. If you want DVDs, man, King of Trade.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I suspect, I don't know if it's still there, but they had a pretty rockin' VHS section for a while.
They definitely did. I think I got Gremlins there maybe or something back in the early touring parts of, because we would get to. When we basically spent the first full weekend in and around Lethbridge. I'm going to quickly pop up another video of us early. This is kind of fun to watch. So we had played Lethbridge the first night, and then we're like, what can we do the next day? And people were like, you got to go to Waterton and go check out the park. It's beautiful in Pincher Creek.
You went to Waterton?
Yeah, we got way too close to a grizzly. It was for Ontario boys. You're
going to play. Go ahead.
This is just our hotel room. This shows the people who don't tour for a living how amazing it can be. So let's just check it out quick. It's like a minute.
Day 5. Let's see where we are. There's a place called Pincher where we had to stay for the night. So we could get up, but was awoken before any trouble happened. Coffee is on the way. Drunk. Just kidding. But let's have a look outside. We're undercover here. We're not supposed to have 4 people in this room. If we try to get into the sauna, but it doesn't open till 4. But take a look. That's a pretty sweet room. It's got blue pen. Oh, sad. So you're so cute when you sleep. My arm is shaking because we hugged yesterday.
Oh my god!
I love it, man. It's so.
Look
So
at
that
that.
was like, I guess that hotel was in Pincher Creek. I don't really remember, but
I remember that. I remember that hotel. But
That
when
looks
we
like-
went to Pincher, oh, go ahead.
I
What did
just
you
said
say?
that looks like Pincher. And that was some nice non salt and pepper hair you got going on that.
that was a
Look
long
at
time
that.
ago, buddy.
It's crazy.
2004 that was
Old.
shot
Can you
on one of the
believe I
best
have
cameras of
black
the
hair?
day.
But
Yeah.
so we went to Waterton National Park, and when we were going on the path, these guys were Steve, Casey, and my friend Mike had run ahead, and I'm trailing behind them, and I read the sign, and the sign says grizzly bears have been spotted on the trail, and I was like, I'm from Ontario. I just assumed that they had collars on the bears and they knew where they were at. So I didn't say anything to anybody. I was just like, obviously the wardens know where the bears are at. And then we get up to the top. We meet this guy, T.S. Armstrong. Like, he's like, hey, Casey has his camera up top. We're throwing snowballs at each other around the lake. And then he comes over to us with his dog. And he's like, do you guys have any bear spray? So my head starts turning. I'm like, bear spray, bear spray. I'm like, no. I'm like, can you sell us some? And and he tells us the joke. Then he tells us the joke. He's like, you know what the difference is between grizzly bear shit and black bear shit is? And we're like, no. He's like, the grizzly bear shit has the VHS tape in it. And so we start
I'm holding the
freaking.
camera at the time too. Like, thanks, bud.
We have an hour and a half hike down. And he's like, I
As
bring
the
my
sun
dog
is now like
Yeah.
here too. It's getting
just
dark.
in case. Yeah, he's like, I bring my dog just in case the bears
There you
show
go.
up, so that the dog can go attack the bear and I can get away. And we're just like,
We're from
4 guys
Ontario.
now, stuck.
What are we
at
supposed
the
to
top
do
of
now?
a hill.
So
So
great.
did you run into one?
So-
Quick. We'll try to get through it quick, but tell them what happened at the bottom.
So what happens is we walk the way down. We're making noise.
You made
around
a
the
lot of
switchbacks.
noise.
As T.S. Strong said, we grab rocks, making noise, yelling all the way down, and we stop across just a little bit of a creek. And we kind of are like taking a breath. We're like, okay, we're almost home free. And then we hike for like another 20 minutes or whatever and make it to the parking lot. And when we get to the parking lot, there's these two. By the time we get to the parking lot, we're celebrating that we made it there alive. And about 10 minutes later, these 2 German people come and they're like huffing and puffing. They're like, oh, it's amazing. And then they show these guys pictures of the grizzly bear. But the grizzly bear would have been maybe about 100 yards down below us when we stopped.
Well, it was at the bench.
took
We had
the
stopped
photo.
at this little park bench to just chill out because we had gotten out. We had gotten out of the top part. We're like, oh man, okay, that guy was just fucking with us because he's like, we're from Ontario. He was just trying to scare us. We get out the picture of this bear, which is like maybe 10 minutes before we got there. It's massive, and it's at the bench where we had stopped from across the switchback. I literally almost like just puked. I was like, oh, like this is crazy. Like I call it an unhealthy fear of bears, but I don't know if that's even possible. Like I just fearful of bears.
It's a healthy fear.
Yeah, it should be, right? Exactly. So it's like, yeah, that was and then we went back to play Lethbridge that night and told that story on stage and did what we did. It was great.
Everyone just nodded like, yeah. So
Yeah, like there's one in town right now. What are you worried about?
it's
Yeah.
funny because that Waterton, I grew up going to Waterton, and it's a really cool, relatively undiscovered place because unlike Jasper and Banff,
Mhm.
there's no ski hill, so there's not a lot
Right.
going on in the winter, and it's not famous for that. And B, there's no through road; it's a dead end, right?
Yeah.
So like you can hit Jasper or Banff on your way to BC, but you gotta know about Waterton to go there.
Mhm.
And it shares it's like in the States too, right? It shares a border basically, which is cool. That's an interesting thing.
It's actually surprising. It's a top North American windsurfing spot because the wind just howls through that valley.
Well, Lethbridge even there. I mean, yeah, the town of Lethbridge is pretty windy too.
Our family ranch is about 20 minutes from there. It's pretty country.
Oh, really?
wow, beautiful.
Yeah, we've Yeah, bears. It's weird because like in the last 20 years, bears have become a thing more than they used to. And the theory is that as people push up into their habitat, they become less afraid of us and they just wander down. But yeah, it's a constant. Like when I was a kid, I didn't think about that on the ranch, but now you're always kind of like head on a swivel a little bit because you never know, you might surprise one.
We were talking about your track, The Truth Comes Out, which you mentioned sort of that idea, I think, right?
Yeah.
Cougars essentially, but same idea of like wildlife coming in, you know.
Yeah. Cougars are extra scary too, because most of the time, like bears, unless they're really hungry or aggressive, or you mess with their cubs or surprise them, usually it's kind of a toss up. But cougars actively stalk you, right? Like,
that's
prey.
Right.
Cats scare the shit out of me, actually.
I remember we played South Country Fair and they said, "Oh, there's a cougar alert." And we had to walk back to the hotel, which was probably a good mile and a half.
Here's a picture of the fair,
road. Yeah, and I remember being scared. I walked it alone. I was like, shit, it was dusky. You know, I'm like, is there a cougar in that tree?
I remember I was going to leave with you, and I'm like, no, I'm going to stay and just do whatever and be done with it. And I had to walk alone after you.
Yeah.
Well, Grant Lawrence has a great book. I forget. It's the one about his place out in BC. And he has a story about being near the water and hearing what he thinks is a cougar in the bush and the tense, it's an amazingly told story about expecting this thing to pop out at some point. Ends up being, I won't ruin it, it's not a cougar, but it's just like the way he tells it is so what it would feel like to just be like, okay, I'm going to probably die or I have to figure out how to fight a cougar right now. And what am I going to do kind of thing. It's pretty wild. Really great.
Your imagination can play tricks.
Well, even at Pitchfork Festival or whatever in Oregon, when I had to walk home through the woods by myself, and I'm like, every crack of a branch is just like, I'm in the wild right now. Why did I stay so late?
They're apex carnivores, right? Like they're built, they're killing machines.
Yeah.
So when you see a cat, I always think of it when you see your cat fucking with a mouse, that you're the mouse. You're the mouse.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's another shot of great landmark of your hometown. Do you have any information on this spaceship, or what's the deal here?
Well, they turned that spaceship into a restaurant.
Exactly. So it wasn't always a restaurant.
No, it was a water tower.
Okay, and it didn't have windows when it was holding water, right?
Oh, wow.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Put the windows in.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love the Western towers are great. Like the Calgary Tower is kind of cool. It's fine, but it's not that tall. You know, it's that kind of thing. But the Lethbridge one, I think, is.
But that's a different purpose. The Calgary Tower is decorative. This was actually a water tower.
It looks like a Doctor Who prop.
Yeah,
a little bit like a.
I've often wondered how much it must have cost. Like it's gone through about a number of restaurant owners, but the first guy to go in there, like how would you even begin to get that up to code and the engineering involved and the architecture? Like holy smokes, it's cool though.
It's weird to turn a water tower into a restaurant. The reviews are like, food's good, water tastes like shit.
Have you been up there?
We haven't been up there. No, to be honest, we have not.
Good.
We've been near
cool because you can walk around that walkway on the outside at night, and it's
on the outside.
Yeah, there's a catwalk.
Oh yeah, I see it there. Oh no way.
One level's a bar, the other level's a restaurant.
Yeah, we got offered to play there once, I think.
We did?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
really?
someone was talking about booking us in there, and
that might have just been a late 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm gonna book the water tower for you guys.
Yeah.
We're totally doing that.
A hell of a load-in.
Yeah. We could talk load-in. That is not the Dutch load-in, as we would call the good ones.
That's you know what? That's actually brilliant. It's just like that's the way your mind thinks.
Load-in,
the load-in is going to be.
That was the show. Horrible load-in, just horrible load-in.
Can I go back for 1 second to The Truth Comes Out? How does it take you to write that? You know what I mean? It's a really good piece of writing. The truth comes out when you wrote that song.
You know
how long did it take you to write it?
Oh, how long did it take? You kind of cut out. I don't remember. It's a while. Most of my tunes take a while. That one's a little different because a lot of my stuff is more literal or like direct storyline type stuff. That one's more of a word painting, as you alluded to earlier, kind of.
Ian, well, it's the imagery is massive in that for sure.
Yeah.
It's like Ian Tyson told me once. He said, "What's that song about?" I said, I don't know, just about hippie shit or whatever. It's my favorite one, but I don't know what the fuck it's about.
Amazing. That's a good.
Yeah,
I
you know
like
what?
that phrase. That's good. I have no clue what this is, but it's fucking good. It's great.
But you know what? One of my favorite lines, though, even from it, let me just pull it up here, just to quote you properly. It's just like, I love your use here. It's like, white man, light a big fire, stay cold. The red man's warmer, but the old man's still old. I love that. It's a great line. That's like, those are brilliant. Like, it's beautiful because it means a lot. To me, it's just like, it's heavy, but it's subtle but heavy at the same time, if that makes any sense. I don't know. If that's what you meant, you know.
Yeah, it is. Like there's an old saying about how the white man makes a big fire and stays cold, but I guess at the time they would have said the Indian or the red man makes a small one and stays warm. Because if you light a big fire, you can't get anywhere near it, right? It's like
conservation, it's preservation, and
and it's like a metaphor for older wisdom kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
great.
Because there's that. What's the track? Getting Down on the Mountain. I remember the first time I heard the lyrics of that, I was like, I'm in trouble. I was just like, oh my god, do you like? Can you tend a good garden? Can you gut a fish? Can you do all? I'm like, I'm from fucking Windsor. I'm doomed. Like, this song is so amazing, but I'm afraid now.
I did a European tour with Jeff Berner. You guys know Jeff,
of
right?
course.
Yeah,
we'll have him on here at some point. We gotta have Berner on here for sure.
And he's pretty urban, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I was opening the tour for him, and after three dates, we just like decided to do it as a duo because it was way more fun.
Sure.
And he would stand there and ad lib. I'd be like, can you break the horse? Can you light the fire? He'd be like, and he's like this much shorter than me with the accordion. He'd be like, nope. Can't do that.
That's how I was. That's my list. I'm like, no,
definitely can't do that.
Picture Berner in the forest hunting with an accordion, like just like smashing things with it.
Yeah.
But
He's another brilliant writer, right? It's like he's a great writer. The Maginot Line is brilliant.
He's one of my very favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have been buddies a long time, eh?
Yeah.
And he's a straight shooting guy as well.
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's brilliant too. He's extremely well read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He and I met in Norway 1,000 years ago at a festival when I was in the Smalls. I was there with the rock band, and I was just kind of I was in my like busky phase, and he and I met up at this party and started busking like Stones tunes, like on the accordion guitar. And then he somehow needed a ride from, I don't know, Oslo to wherever, Bergen or something. And he hopped in our van with us, and that's how I got to know him.
That's great. Well, speaking of festivals, we first saw you at, what is it, Rhythm and Roots? What's it called? The Kilkenny Festival in Ireland. That's where we first saw your band play.
Really?
Way back in like 2005, maybe? You guys were playing at a weird sports bar in Kilkenny.
You were playing, and it's like the bar, it was really well attended, but the bar had maybe like 12 TVs. And I think you played the whole time just staring at the one TV. It was just like, because there's too many to look at. So you're just like, but you put on a great show. It's like, how do you perform when there's that many TVs on? You know what I mean? It's just like, but it's like in our career, we've done it way too much.
It was like the hurling championships, that sport that's like field hockey where they just murder each other. Like at the time it was like, which is huge between like Cork and Kilkenny and those little towns. It's like, it's crazier hooliganism than any like English soccer even. Cause I don't know if you were, do you know the sport, Corb, or like where they like just whack the sticks? It's
only from a distance, but yeah, it looks pretty rough.
But that's where NHL hockey helmets go to live on forever. Have you ever seen their cages? They like it's old, like 1970 Jaffas. NHL hockey helmets, and then they have wire that they put on to protect their faces.
Oh, really? Yeah,
like the Glenn Hanlon model, the old square.
Exactly.
Right. Ireland's pretty great, huh?
Yeah, man, we got to go. I can't wait to go back. I loved it there.
Maybe we should tour Ireland together.
That'd be something.
Done.
Absolutely. It'll open up pretty quick. I don't know what they're doing over there, but
they have beer there.
They have a lot of that. Yeah. And good beer too. It's true about the Guinness thing. When you drink it there, it's different. It's just somehow a lot better.
I used to think that was a way for people to just humble brag about how they'd just been to Ireland, but it's really
it's good.
It's like a big chocolate milkshake or something.
I love the way that we're in Kilkenny, but they actually brew Smithwick's there. They don't serve Kilkenny at the pumps because Kilkenny is a blend.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it was supposedly a blend between Guinness and Smithwick's or something. The Smithwick's is the actual brewery that you see on the Kilkenny can.
Okay.
It's weird. Yeah.
The night that we saw you, actually, Casey had a great moment. I think we drank a ton of beer and whiskey. And what's your story, Kay?
Well, I went into some store that was like Progressive Clothing. It was pretty much the same idea, but in Kilkenny. And I fell in love with this amazing red plaid shirt. And I had been drinking a lot and bought it and was so excited about it and broke it out of my bag the next morning. And it was blue. I was like, how drunk are you to buy the wrong, like it was completely the wrong color. So I was just like, we got to slow down here. This is Kilkenny. So, like I remember those shows, like, cause all those pubs had the back music room, at least on that festival in that town. Like there'd be the front bar and everywhere had the back room where the music was.
Mhm.
And the rider was so huge for some reason that we were just handing it out to the crowds, which endeared us to them, I suppose. We couldn't drink anything that they gave us. We're just giving beers and out to the people while they're watching us. It was, I think that was 2005. I feel like it was definitely in that whole scrum of ridiculous times.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
well, it was before because we hadn't toured with you guys yet.
Okay.
We didn't know you guys. So we were like, oh, let's go check them out. They're here well and kind of, watch you
Corb,
guys rip it up.
You had a guitar there. Did you want to play something or you just want to chat? It's up to you. If you want to play a tune.
Could do.
Yeah. And one quick question before you do though. Whatever happened to the van you guys were touring in on that tour? It was like your older van, I think you had. It might have been from the Smalls days.
Big cube one?
Yeah, it was like a converted like truck. It looked like a utility truck or something.
That I sold that to a guy who was a fan of the band, and he still uses it to hunt in.
No way. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
He
Because that
kept
thing
it
was
in.
like that looked like it had seen many miles.
It was a death trap, really. 'cause
Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't want to call it
there's
that.
there's no way out, right? Except for that one little crawl space.
Yeah, like if you're in it, it's a coffin as well. You're taken care of if you die in it. You're not coming out of it or whatever. But
I'll play that Truth Comes Out song if you want to.
that'd be amazing.
Yes.
I'll try not to forget the lyrics. It's been a long time, but
Mark knows them.
I haven't played a show in a year. You may know.
I get you. There you go.
I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, when we do go play again, I'm like, I don't know the songs. I gotta go. It's gonna take a little bit of like getting back into that lifestyle again. And
I've got a cousin who's he's half Blackfoot, and he wrote a play years ago. We had no idea. He's just kind of a cowboy, and we had no idea he had it in him. But he wrote this play called Time Stands Still. It's about two Indigenous guys in jail. It's really great. They performed it out east at the NAC in Ottawa, and I saw it there. And it's been years now, but they're an Indigenous theater group is what do you call it when you put a play on? Restaging
staging,
it?
yeah.
So I think I'm going to do the music for it. So it's pretty neat because
that'd be great.
He's a good buddy, and that's another factor. I don't know if you've had a chance to dig into that part, but the Blackfoot presence in Lethbridge is very cool. Like they've got a really cool history, and it's really quite recent, right? Because as you go west, the fresher all that is, right? Because conflict took place hundreds of years ago, I guess. But it's all pretty recent here, and it's very much a living past. It's a pretty cool part of the culture.
Right. Yeah. Notice it.
I'll probably use this tune actually for part of the soundtrack of the play. Anyway,
at that point, Grant's playing that? Grant's in the band at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, did he record on this record?
He did. Yep.
Because that's him playing the intro, right?
The opening.
Oh, it's one of my favorite sounds ever.
And every night when you're playing it, it kicks in. And it's just it sets the mood.
Yeah, it's a mood setter. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you're just waiting for it to come in and just like, ding. Yeah. Anyways,
So I was dedicated to Terry. It's tricky, because that's all around me, and I would like to write more about that. This song has resonances of it, but it's tricky because I don't want to be that guy and come in and step all over somebody else's culture, right? But it's certainly part of what we grew up with here, and I tried to strike the right balance in this tune of honoring their side of things while telling my story, kind of as best.
I think you do. It's just like that subtlety. You hit it right on though.
And it's got a D minor in it.
Nice. And then you make the key change, and then you go up. You make that subtle key change. Right?
A little weird part. Tell me if the guitar come. I've got two mics mixed here.
Yep.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good. Oh yeah, that'll work.
Sure.
truth comes out as the fire burns low. It comes to light as only embers glow. The whiskey talks, the west wind moans in the night. The deadfall's gathered and the branches are cut. The kindling crackles and the smoke curls up. The small sticks catch, then the bigger stuff will burn. Chinook dies down as the dark descends and the pines burn. The ash is cleansed, the message smolders, is lost but finally sent. Well, Connie says she's never seen the cougar so bold. They're coming in the yard and they're stealing young colts. They drag him in the brush with their claws sunk in their nose. The weather's been funny 30 years or so. The winter's got warm, there's not as much snow. Hear the big cats coming 'cause there's nowhere left to go. You gotta look out for bear when you're fishing on Lee's Creek. They'll come round the bend and they'll make your knees weak. There's grizzlies where there was no grizzly bears before. Well, I've heard voices from the ghosts from the graves. The grandfathers tell us at the mouths of the caves. Only old chiefs older than Jesus can save us now, if we're lucky. The white man lights a big fire, stays cold. The red man's warmer, but the old man's old. The antelope seeks the buffalo in the night. Yeah, the antelope mourns the buffalo in the night. You gotta look out for bear when you're fishing on Lee's Creek. They'll come round the bend and they'll make your knees weak. There's grizzlies where there was no grizzly bears before. The truth comes out as the fire burns low. It comes to light as only embers glow. The antelope seeks the buffalo in the night.
Sweet.
Beautiful. So good.
Nicely done.
I missed that slide part, eh? Grant's part's pretty good.
I like the new pause in there with the sleeve up. I think that's a good part. I like that. And I've always loved that if we're lucky part. I love that, like that little if we're lucky. That's like that little like it's just I've always loved that little touch. I just think it's an amazing little hook to me.
Did you guys see on your way to Waterton that mountain they call Chief Mountain? It's a kind of a squared off, really majestic looking. You may
recall that.
Maybe not. We would have seen it, I'm sure, but maybe not realized.
It's a landmark in the area, and that's what I'm referencing about the old chief. That's what they call that mountain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I love that. The old chief older than Jesus. It's great. It's a great line.
Yeah, that one's packed chock full of Southern Alberta isms.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying earlier. It's like you look and hard at, right? It's like you're very, the descriptors, finding all the right things to say and put it in there. So it's like that's a lot of work, as a lyricist.
Another way of saying it would be OCD, but you're right.
Yeah, no, it's good. Agonizing over it and everything, but it all seems very natural to me. So if it comes out, as long as it comes out on the record like it should, then you're fine. It's great. It's we appreciate you being here, man. It's been fun to catch up with you. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to talk. I've never talked this much about Lethbridge, especially.
Yeah, well, we'll talk a little more. You're welcome to stick around, but if you got to go, we get it.
I'll just watch.
Yeah, sure. All right, man. Well, thanks for being here, Corby. I don't know what happened to Steve. We lost him.
Yeah, thanks.
But we're gonna just talk about the slice a little bit before we go. But we'll let you go, buddy. And we'll see you out on the highway someday, buddy.
Yep.
Okay, man. Later.
Later.
I don't know what happened to Steve here. I don't know. Internet. He's having Hamilton internet problems. So apparently you guys are watching at the slice. I don't know if you still are. We're an hour and a half deep into this, which was great because Corby's amazing, and it's always what a guy, what an amazing dude, and took us on our first trip together and our first real tour, which was, set the stage for what we still do now. And it's awesome to hear that song again, of course, live.
Yeah.
He's such a pro. It's just so amazing. I love him. And the band, think about when you're that talented of a songwriter and you have the band he has is also a pretty great combo. Grant Siemens and Brady and Kurt. But so we'll quickly, like I said, we're like an hour and a half in. That was awesome. So let's talk quickly about the Slice and our friends. We love you all. They can't answer that. What do you guys want to say anything to our pals?
Sorry,
You
I'm
too,
cutting out.
Oh, we're losing internet everywhere. Let me just describe the Slice to you. So the Slice opened up probably 12 years ago. We've played there many times. Some of the best food in Southern Alberta. We actually made the menu, and it's hard to read this, and I don't know if they're still serving this menu. I found this online. I imagine they still are. But this is their tribute pizza menu, and we have one called The Brood. The Sun Parlor players are on there. The Georgie Porgy, George, our good pal, George, our saying.
George.
Yeah, one of the best guys ever, obviously.
Yeah, what a great
Yeah,
human.
there we go. Let me just turn this thing off. Sorry, 1 second. So I don't know. Anything else we want to talk about the Slice? We can't wait to get back there. Obviously, it's going to be fun. We're back there again.
I don't know. I was just memories popping in my head where, doing a shot and having to go outside.
It's kind of difficult.
I'm not going to touch on that more than that.
Exactly. A lot of fun stuff has happened.
A lot of great stuff that you really can't say again, unless you're like in private.
Yeah, I mean, and like guys like both Georges we've known now for 18 years, and Shayla.
Is it
and
really
Lindsay
that long? Oh my God.
I mean, 2004, almost, whatever, 17, I guess. But like those were all the people that were quite literally at the first show, and then have been almost at everyone, I would imagine, since, to be honest.
Well, those are the people that charged our batteries right at the beginning, right? Like those are the people. I remember George was driving. We had played there in the winter one time, and then George was helping us out and drove me someplace and was just waxing on about how much he liked our band. And it was just like, that was one of the first times anybody had really privately sat me down and told me anything about, how much you like, your band. And it was like, I think Lethbridge has always been a recharging station for us. It's just like you go there and you feel the love, and it's just like it carries you across, wherever you're going to go.
Like we said before, like if we would have skipped it and started in Calgary and played to just Scrabba, who knows, man? We might have just turned around and be like, this is not the life for us. We can't do. But it was like we had gotten there and the show had pre-sold out thanks to like Todd and Corey at the Tongue and Groove the first time, and and Tyson and Tom and everyone. Like that apartment above was so crazy with all this stuff that happened there.
Was it Tom or Tyson that had the dog that was super crazy?
Like that was Tom's dog that jumped out the window.
Remember? Do you remember we stayed at?
I remember I was scared to come out of the bedroom because the dog was like barking at me out of the door.
Okay, so this was the story I was going to tell. Is this like that night he let us stay over, and the dog's like running around on all the furniture sideways on the walls. It was like
on the wall. There was a path on the wall.
But the dog, unfortunately, peed everywhere in the house. So the house kind of a bit dog.
Here we go.
I woke up in the middle of the night. Oh, it was Tom's. Yep. So I woke up in the middle of the night and had to go to the bathroom, and the dog is blocking the bathroom door. And I'm like, and I got to the point, I had the conversation with the dog. I'm like, I don't mind peeing on the floor because I'm just going to blame it on you. It's like,
right, yeah. We'll get through this night. Yeah.
I'm just the dog ended up letting me go to the bathroom, but it was just like one of those crazy places. I was like,
I'm just glad I wasn't even like 10 years younger when we were there, because we were at least somewhat smart about like trying to keep it under control. But it was like being, I almost froze to death one time in the back of a car. Like Lindsay came and found me. I was like, I'm going to take a nap in this car. And it's like minus 100. It's like stupid things when you're young and dumb and whatever. 30. Like, haven't figured it out yet. I mean, I probably wouldn't have died. I'm not that stupid. I hope.
Well, it's funny that we started later in life though, as well, right? It's just like I was 30, you were 28, 27, 28.
Yeah, I guess so.
When we first went on tour or whatever.
I'm not doing math live. I'm not doing math.
No.
Yeah, I was the youngest, and I was still older than like most people that were there. So, but yeah, like my memories of Corey's bar and the Tongue and Groove. Let me just see if I can. I didn't put up the picture yet, and I know it's getting late in the show here, but
it's too bad we didn't have phones back then. We had your camera, but nobody had phones to take photos and videos and all that.
I think there's a Cuff the Duke poster right there in the window there. It looks like just left of the white door. It's hard to see if it's small.
Oh, look, Cuff the Duke is on.
Yeah, this is. I mean, they would have been through.
The Cracker Cats, is that Cracker Cats?
Is there Cracker Cats there? I can't see it in the small thing, but yeah, it was like frozen? That was. It was definitely a community.
Cuff the Duke is on there.
Nice.
Yeah, such a great place. And I remember walking in the first time and going like, I don't know how this is going to go, and then them telling us like it's full, it's already sold out. We're like, what? Why?
Well, the other thing was we sold out of all of our shirts. We didn't have that many, but the first night. Like, we didn't have
It was
anything else
good,
left.
Oh, we celebrated
Just
like we were
saying,
going.
that's
to
probably why we had such a huge bar test.
The other best thing about this whole thing was Steve didn't even have to make that trip across the country with us. He flew in. Amazing.
I was lucky.
So good.
Thank you, Hillary Kirkudis.
I know.
I had to finish a record that I was mixing, and then
That's how we knew you were a super rock star when you flew
we were pretty new. Yeah. Your first tour, not mine.
Exactly. You know, you don't need to see Point O'Burl again and all those things. You've been through there, but for us, it was our first trip.
You're right. You're right, because Lethbridge blew away Calgary. Calgary was literally 3 people, and you mentioned Scrabba. Yeah, I think you should give Scrabba a shout out, because
absolutely
he was at the show, right?
And he was basically the only one who wasn't working there that was at the show. I think. Yeah. To be honest, it was a pretty rough. I mean, things got better after Calgary. We'll talk about this in the next episode, but we got up to Edmonton and played the Black Dog, and that was amazing. I have footage of that, which is pretty great.
That was great.
We'll try to harness.
But then we deadheaded it.
Yeah, but it just Lethbridge in general. Still, like when I get there, I feel like it's one of the, again, we probably all feel the same. We're coming home. We're coming to like the best pizza that we're gonna have on the trip. Yeah. It's like you hang out with Jesse and Ty and all those guys, and it's like it's just being at a house party. They treat you like they've known you forever, which I guess at this point we have, but they treated us like that from the first time, right?
Yeah.
Like from the very beginning. And it's like literally playing to a bunch of friends instead of strangers all the time. That's what it always feels like there. It's like 100 of our buddies are all going to be there. And over the years, more newer people have come because people just get older and it does change a bit. But the hardcore of that group, like we'll always see Shayla, likely, I would imagine. George's, Jeremy, we'll usually see everyone there, right? It's like they keep coming around to hang with us, which is reassuring and great. So.
We've done New Year's Eve, Halloween, Canada Day. Right. It's the only city, maybe besides Toronto, that we've played all these. We've actually gone out and done those shows.
Well, and the pinnacle of the Woodwires and Whiskey tour with the A.C.R.O.N.Y and Sun Parlor Players was definitely the peak like craziness was that night, right? Like I think Rolf was Freddie Mercury. I was like a Twister board. My costume sucked. Were you the devil that night? Were you the red devil?
Yeah, I was the devil.
Your costume was great. I don't remember. Mark, what were you for that Halloween? Do you remember? Or is he froze?
I was a flasher.
Right. Of course. And then I think, that was like,
that was cutting out. Sorry.
All good. All right. Well, we're at an hour and a half. I mean, if people are still watching,
we should all cut out.
We will cut out soon, but I just, we love you, Lethbridge. We love you everywhere, but especially, you're our first home.
Of course.
So just good to hang and talk.
They're going to broadcast this live at the Slice. Is that right?
You were thinking of it like, that was the idea. But again, I don't know what the law is in there right now, but I'll just put up the Slice again with Shayla there rocking. I like the blue hair in the shot. That's a good choice for her. It's good.
Yeah.
I think that must be the Shayla Miller
trio. You know what? It's just like it's such an important spot for us. That's for sure.
Probably a lot of bands, to be honest, because they take care of, they do shows multiple times a week. They were always doing that. So. And we would
look at who they have on their pizza. The perpetrators, Sun Parlor Players, Shayla, all, you know what I mean? Like they definitely support.
And ours is funny too, because I know ours was conceived at about, like the ingredients on ours, which is spinach, caramelized onions, peppers, black olives, we were so late in the night when we came up, whatever, just take everything you have and put it on this, put it on the pizza. And Ty was like, this is the brood now. We're like, great. Like, give me one. So good. He's a magician as a cook. He's an absolute magician.
Yeah. Man.
And I mean, like even Jesse, like in the early days and probably still, if someone doesn't have a touring tech, he's doing everything. He's like running the board, running the bar. He's such a great dude. So it's been, how long has it been since we've been back? It's almost 2 years probably with this whole gap now, I guess. I don't know. It'll be one of the first places we go back to, that's for sure. I can't wait. But episode 5 in the tank.
All right.
Nice work, Kay.
Let's call it.
Wait, I got one more thing to say. Does that hurt? Was that loud?
It was.
No.
You could back it up a little bit, but we're still learning.
Sorry. Far
no
away.
worries.
All right.
That's better.
Hit that theme.
Acronym, that's A.C.R.O.N.Y.M. We started a little music club and we called it A.C.R.O.N.Y.M. We can't go on tour again until this damn pandemic ends. Until then, friends, won't you come on in and join us for Acronym? Analytical criticism regarding objectively narrowing your music.